In the words of the Merc with the mouth, Deadpool himself, today's episode of the IE Wrestling Show is going to be full of maximum effort. That's right, guys. It's your boy, the SoCal Saint, back at it again with another fresh off the table episode of the IE Wrestling Show, the premier professional wrestling podcast, your undisputed champion of wrestling podcasts, and of course, your direct feed for all that is professional wrestling on the only network that is your direct feed for all that is sports, IE Sports Radio. What is good? I hope you guys are having an awesome Wednesday morning / afternoon, depending on what side of the United States or the world that you're listening to me, watching me live right now, streaming live. I am coming into you live on your cell phones, your tablets, your iPads, your iPhones, your laptops. If you're watching me on your television screens, that's also fucking awesome too. What's good, y'all? Right there, representing the IE Sports Radio. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Please follow us on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok at IE Sports Radio. And please do me a favor and follow your boy, the SoCal Saint, at IE Wrestling Show on the X and on TikTok. That's right. I had it right. Boom, right there. That's the handle right there. Follow it. IE Sports Radio is available on Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, Castbox, Deezer, and all your awesome podcast listening ways. Trust me. And please do yourself a favor. Go to iesportsradio.com. That's iesportsradio.com. And you can join for free. And you can check out all what IE Sports Radio has to offer. You can check out past and present episodes of your favorite podcast, just like the podcast you listened to leading into my show today, 3 and Out, with your boy, Larry B. That's right, the head honcho, the so-called head of the table of the IE Sports Radio bloodline. Yeah, you see what I did there? You see what I did there, Larry? Yeah, let's throw them ones up. Let's throw them ones up for Larry B right now. What's good, y'all? And please, if you love what we do yourself a favor and go to the iesportsradio.com/shop. It's our merch shop. If you love what we do, want to throw some shekels our way to show your support for the IE Sports Radio crew, you can grab yourself that awesome t-shirt that you see behind me there, the IE Sports Radio official logo shirt. You can get it in a tank top. You can get a hat. Please, if you love what we do, just, show some love, man. We love what we do for y'all. And if you love what we do for you, we would totally appreciate it. Not only that, please, you can follow my official iesportsradio.com page at iesportsradio.com/the IE Wrestling Show, where you can check out all of my past episodes if you're, been out of the loop for a little while, if you're just becoming a fan of mine and the show, and you can go back and listen to, a lot of past episodes and catch up, This is episode 73. That's so crazy. 73 already. This has been a crazy year, guys, in professional wrestling. Probably one of the best years of professional wrestling we've had so far, and it's not even over yet. We're just now about to finish the month of July, and we're about to lead into August, and we're kicking off the month of August with the biggest party of the summer. Of course, SummerSlam is this weekend, and we had a little preemptive party, a nice little cookout before the big bash this weekend. Yesterday, we'll get into it here shortly, NXT Great American Bash took place. It was night 1 of the Great American Bash last night, and it was live on Sci-Fi Network. That was something I forgot to mention last week. I do apologize. The Sci-Fi Network is actually going to have Raw and NXT for this week and next week due to the Olympic Games in Gay Paris. So before we get into everything, I got to shout out our official sponsors who keep the lights on for us here at IE Sports Radio. Planet Jerky. That's right. Premium brisket beef jerky. It is delicious. Trust me, I have had it myself. I've tried the barbecue flavor and the I forgot it was the volcanic jalapeno, I think is the name of the flavor. Whoo, man. They are so good. And it's like, I love that the spiciness of that volcanic jalapeno. It's like a nice little after kick. You know what I mean? It's got, it's like that. Ooh, it's that little bit of extra at the very end. You know what I mean? It's so good. If you haven't, go to planetjerky.net and order yourself some and try it today. And also, shout out Seal the Deal Wax Seals. for all your seal needs, wax seal needs. They're fantastic. They are made by Mrs. Head Honcho, Mrs. Head of the Table, Mrs. Larry B, of course. Trust me, you won't be disappointed. They're fantastic. And don't take my word for it. Check out our sponsors right now.
Hi, eSports Radio fans. This show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Hey there, eSports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back. Yes, that was our official sponsors, Planet Jerky and Seal the Deal Wax Seals. Go to planetjerky.net and order yourself some delicious premium brisket beef jerky. That jerky is on a whole other planet. Ooh, yeah! And go to iesportsradio.com/Seal the Deal Wax Seals and order yourself some awesome wax seals that could add that nice little, what's the word I'm looking for? Sophisticated touch to all your invitation needs and sealing needs. That's right, guys. And shout out to my boy, host of the Yinzer Report, which was live yesterday. Oh, what am I doing? What's going on? Check out, just shout out to the host of the Yinzer Report, my boy. Oh, thank you, Taryn. Yes, and host of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Taryn Rodriguez is in the chat room. And my boy, Ralph Calise. Yes, he is in the chat room. He is a big supporter of mine. I do appreciate it, brother. And he's shouting out, wanting to get a yeet. And I got to give him the full yeet because check it out. Boom! Live and in color, representing main event Jey Uso. This is for Ralph and everybody watching live. Yeet! That's right. Yeet! Oh, I get it one more time. Yeet! Oh, yeah. We're going to have a fucking awesome time today. Oh, I just dropped an F-bomb. Sorry. Trying to watch myself. I'm still getting over. Yeah, shout out, Taryn. That's right. Yeet. That's what I'm talking about. Look at that. Taryn Rodriguez, he knows what's up. And he's also, and I stand corrected, he is also the host of Set Point as well, another one of our great shows here on iSports Radio. My apologies, good sir. So check out both of Taryn Rodriguez's awesome shows, the SoCal Supreme Sports Show and Set Point, as well as Ralph Calise's Yinzer Report show. And I just want to real quick before I get into wrestling talk. I just wanted to mention this because, like I said at the top of the hour, like the Merc with the mouth himself, Deadpool, maximum effort. If you haven't already seen Deadpool and Wolverine, go see it. It was awesome. Being a comic book nerd myself, I enjoyed every bit of it. It was just, what's the word I could put this as? In the most Deadpool-y way. It was a nerdgasm among nerdgasms. There you go. How about that? So, guys, let's get right into it, y'all. So, last night on Sci-Fi Channel, the Sci-Fi Network, whatever, we had NXT Great American Bash Night 1. The Great American Bash is actually a old pay-per-view that came from the WCW days. That's right. WCW used to be one of their main shows during the summertime. The Great American Bash was a summer pay-per-view, usually held around this time in July, sometimes in June. I remember it being closer to June than in July because I believe July was always the pay-per-view, the month that they would have the Bash at the Beach. But anyway. And I love that Triple H, whenever he started NXT, after it started gaining some traction and becoming, this thing, this new movement, within the company, he went back to what he loved, what he grew up watching, which was the NWA, aka WCW, later on in life. And he loved a lot of the things that came out of that style of wrestling and that particular era of wrestling, and he would recycle a lot of those old ideas, such as the Great American Bash, of course, and War Games, which is something that he uses now at Survivor Series, which is awesome. I love that we recycle War Games now for for Survivor Series yearly. They've done some other WCW pay-per-views in the NXT brand, like Halloween Havoc is a 2-week event since like 2 years ago, I think. So most likely this year will be the same thing. So Great American Bash last night was live at the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida for NXT's first week of a 2-week event. And they did not disappoint. I was able to catch a lot of this live or watching it live. I was at work. I worked a 12-hour shift yesterday, so I'm running on fumes, but I'm doing this for y'all, the loyal listeners. So we had a lot of awesome matches last night. The event kicked off last night live on Sci-Fi with the Unholy Union, Alba Fire and Ela Dawn successfully defending their WWE Women's Tag Team titles against the Meta 4, Jakari Jackson and Lash Legend, defeating them by pinfall after a solid 10-minute match. So it's nice to see that the Unholy Union gets a victory heading into their next title defense, which is actually upcoming this coming weekend. This coming Friday on SmackDown, which is the lead-in to SummerSlam this coming Friday. Yo, shout out to Brandon Buck in the chat room. What's good, man? Thank you. I hope I do have a good show. Thank you for listening, man. Thank you for watching live. I appreciate it. Anyway, yes. So this coming Friday, I'm getting all frazzled. This coming Saturday, I did it again. This coming Friday on SmackDown, the Unholy Union will defend their WWE Women's Tag Team titles against the team that they defeated for the tag team titles at Clash of the Castle. I'm talking about Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. That should be a hell of a match, actually. I'm looking forward to that. It should be a really great match. Hopefully, I really don't know who I'd pick for that match, honestly. I mean, I would like to see the Unholy Union continue with their championship reign because I feel like it's still very young in its infancy. But I mean, there is money in having the titles on Cargill and Bianca. I would like to keep their partnership going just a little bit longer because the eventual turn is going to happen and we're going to get a one-on-one match out of the two of them, most likely at WrestleMania, which I feel like that's where it should be saved for. I don't think they should, just have it happen right away. I don't see this being a match for Survivor Series or something. I really want to have this build and build and build and then have this big blow off at a really big event like WrestleMania. So that's just my opinion. Another tag team title match that's scheduled for this Friday on SmackDown, which I'm definitely worried about because I was very happy that DIY, the current WWE Tag Team Champions, Johnny Gargano, Cleveland's own Johnny Gargano, because they're going to be in Cleveland this Friday and Saturday, and his partner Tommaso Ciampa are the current champions. They have to defend their tag team titles this coming Friday against the Bloodline. And not only that, it's going to be two of their most vicious members, Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu. The Samoan Werewolf and MFT himself, the new right-hand man, Tama Tonga, and the Samoan Werewolf, Jacob Fatu, the new enforcer of the Bloodline, which is surprising to me because I always assumed that they would have Tonga teaming with his brother, Tonga Loa, and kind of, rebranding them again as the Guerrillas of Destiny, in WWE. That's who I would assume would be the tag team of this group. And Jacob Fatu would have a more mid-card, upper mid-card, dominant singles run. I don't know what the deal is with Tonga Loa. If he's injured, I don't know. Like I haven't heard anything about him being injured, but he has not had a match since he debuted at Backlash. He's just kind of just been there, just in the background, interfering in matches and whatnot. He didn't even wrestle at Money in the Bank in the main event 6-man tag, which I thought he would, but I guess, they had to go with Jacob Fatu, there was a lot of, hoopla about if Jacob Fatu would even be able to enter the country at that point. But I don't know. Maybe he is dealing with some sort of injury and he's not 100%. That's why they're going with Fatu and Tama Tonga as the tag team for this match at SmackDown this coming Friday. So two big tag team title matches coming to you live on the eve of on the eve of SummerSlam. I do apologize for that. Next on the card here at NXT's Night 1 of the Great American Bash, we had the British Rounds Rules match for the NXT Heritage Cup. The champion, the current holder of the NXT Heritage Cup, Tony D'Angelo of the family, was successful in defending the NXT Heritage Cup in a successful victory 2-1 over Tavion Heights, the newest member of the No Quarter Catch crew. This team has definitely evolved since the release of Drew Gulak a few months back. It was Drew Gulak, Charlie Dempsey, and Damon Kemp were the original three members of the group. Drew Gulak was released from his contract, or they never renewed it. Whatever you believe what was told, we were told that he was released, and then other places said that his contract just merely was not renewed. So there you have it. And then just recently, Damon Kemp, in the last month, I think it was just a few weeks ago or about a month ago, he was his contract was not renewed, so he's no longer with the company anymore. And now this new evolution of this group is now under the leadership of Charlie Dempsey, who was at one time just the right-hand man of Drew Gulak. Now he's the one running the show of the No Quarter Catch crew. And he is also, for those who don't know, a little insider info for you, he is the son of WWE, former WWE Intercontinental Champion and backstage producer William Regal. To me, I don't see the resemblance right offset, but I mean, the wrestling style is definitely there. Charlie Dempsey learned from the best, one of the best in his father, William Regal. And Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights are the two members of the No Quarter Catch crew that are under the leadership of Charlie Dempsey. But it was not enough for Tavion Heights to defeat Tony D'Angelo. The family, Channing, Stax Lorenzo, Luca Crucifino, and Adriana Rizzo were in the corner of Tony D'Angelo in his successful championship victory. Next match on the card was Cedric Alexander defeating Brooks Jensen, which Brooks Jensen actually came off of a victory against his former tag team partner Josh Briggs last week on NXT, which I thought they would kind of keep that momentum going, but that was not to be the case. And Cedric Alexander scored his first television victory in quite some time, because I saw on X that he broke a television losing streak, because I've seen I witnessed Cedric Alexander and Ashanti the Adonis win a tag team match at the SmackDown taping that I went to back in February. So I know he hasn't been losing this entire time because he's been winning some dark matches. But on television, he's had a 982 match losing streak that he just broke last night on NXT. So congratulations to Cedric for breaking a almost 1,000 match losing streak on television. Next match on the card, we had Jada Parker defeating Kendall Gray in a one-on-one match, a very short one-on-one match, but solid. It did what it had to do in showcasing Jada Parker's talent. Jada Parker is definitely a very nice young talent. I think she has a lot of potential. I think we could see her eventually become a champion in NXT, possibly the NXT Women's North American Champion in the near future. I would like to see that. The next match on the card was an awesome match. They were all over the place with this match. It was awesome. It was almost reminiscent of the 6-man tag team match that we had last week on NXT with Axiom, Nathan Frazier, and Javon Evans against the Rascals. But we did it with the females this week. We had Jasmine Nix, JC Jane, and Fallon Henley successfully defeating Carmen Petrovic, Lola Vice, and Sol Ruka in a six-women's tag team match. Very solid match. Went 13 minutes. It was the semi-main event for the evening. And then we led into the main event, which was held again by the women. It was the NXT Women's Championship. It was the prodigy Roxanne Perez retaining her women's championship against Thea Hale in a very, very solid match. Roxanne has just been on fire since she won the NXT Women's Championship back. And I don't see anyone on the current roster stopping Roxanne. I feel like they're saving Roxanne's imminent victory, her impending loss. Like, it's going to be a big deal when she loses because she's been pushed so strongly with these each successful championship victory. She defeated the TNA Knockouts women's champion Jordan Grace back at Battleground. Here comes another successful title defense against Thea Hale just yesterday. I feel like there is no one on the current roster that can really step to Roxanne. That's why I feel like they're saving one of the new debuts to be the ones to possibly dethrone her in the near future. I'm talking about either Julia, Delta, or Stephanie Vakir. So that's just my idea, my opinion. Who knows? Maybe they'll end up pushing someone, and it'll be one of those like out of the blue fluke victories. Who knows? But I feel like they're going to save her eventual loss and possible move up to the main roster for one of the newer talents that needs that rub. You know what I mean? That was the match results. There was something that happened during the event that I didn't get a touch on yet, but I will now. It was Joe Hendry. Yes, say his name and he will appear. I believe in Joe Hendry. You believe in Joe Hendry. IE Sports Radio believes in Joe Hendry. And he had his first live concert on NXT television. This guy is being pushed to the moon, it seems like, reminiscent Cameron Grimes. He's being pushed so strongly for someone who is not contracted by the WWE. He is still a TNA wrestler under TNA contract, but man, he gets a reaction. The crowd loves him. They sing his song. He is one of the most over talents on the NXT roster, not to be officially on the NXT roster. Everybody enjoyed his little concert last night. He burned Booker T. He burned Galus, which is who he's been kind of feuding off and on with on NXT television, which led to a beatdown from Galus on poor Joe Hendry. And yes, that's right. The head honcho of Larry B. That's right. If someone doesn't believe in Joe Hendry, they're just not cool. That is exactly right. That is so true. I agree with you, sir. But yeah, so Galus came out, Joe Coffey, Wolfgang, and the other Coffey, but man, I can't remember his name right now. Mark Coffey, Joe Coffey, and Wolfgang of Galus, native Scotsmen themselves, just like Joe Hendry, came out and decimated Joe Hendry, which has now been led to a match that is signed for next week Night 2 of the Great American Bash. And I have that match listing for you right now, guys. So this is what we got coming up for you next week on NXT Great American Bash Night 2, live once again on the Sci-Fi Network. It was taken off of USA because of the Olympic Games. So this is the match card for next week. We have a NXT Women's North American Championship match coming up for you next week. Kalani Jordan defending her NXT Women's North American title against Tatum Paxley in a one-on-one match. Because of the beatdown suffered by Joe Hendry, it's been made official. It'll be Joe Hendry. Yes, Joe Hendry returns to NXT for Great American Bash Night 2, and he will be in ring action going one-on-one with Joe Coffey of Galus. So one-on-one, it's going to be Joe Coffey, the leader of Galus, taking on Joe Hendry one-on-one on NXT next week at Great American Bash Night 2. Also on the card, I forgot to mention this, that was also took place. We had a nice little treehouse segment with the Rascals, Trey Miguel, Zachary Wentz, and NXT's Wes Lee. Of course, Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel under TNA contract. Still, they're not official members of the NXT roster, but this partnership with TNA has been amazing. I can't complain whatsoever with how things have been handled with NXT and TNA. It's fantastic. Like I mentioned on last week's episode, TNA had their biggest house in many, many years. 4,000 plus fans live in attendance. It was a sellout in Montreal for this big Slammiversary pay-per-view. And I feel like a lot of that has to do with this mutual relationship between WWE, NXT, and TNA. It's benefiting both shows fantastically. And that's the kind of relationship you want. You don't want one being benefited over the other. You want it to be some sort of mutual, a mutual come up. You know what I mean? They both want to feel the success from this relationship, not one or the other. You know what I mean? So this is a perfect, like all good things in the name of Thanos, perfectly balanced. But last night it was announced during their Treehouse segment that the former NXT Tag Team Champions Zachary Wentz and Wes Lee, known as MSK, are going to be challenging Nathan Frazier and Axiom for the NXT Tag Team titles next week live at the Great American Bash Night 2. They never did lose the NXT Tag Team titles when they were champions last time. Unfortunately, Zachary Wentz was released by the WWE because of some controversial picture and some controversial comments made by his ex-wife at the time. I don't want to get into it. It was a nasty little thing, but that is why they had to lose the tag team titles, because they were stripped of the titles once Zachary Wentz was released by the company. But I feel this is awesome to see them get an opportunity to win the tag team titles that they never lost back. And this is going to be a high-flying, awesome, fast-paced match between Axiom and Frazier and MSK. I can't wait. This could be the highlight of the night next week on NXT Great American Bash. One-on-one match. It is a grudge match out of nowhere. Not only is he feuding with the Celtic Warrior Sheamus on Monday Night Raw, but for some reason he's took an umbrage against the former NXT champion Trick Williams. I'm talking about the bruiserweight Pete Dunne. He returned to NXT last week and attacked Trick Williams, and he's made it a point that he's coming for Trick, and they made the match official: Trick Williams versus Pete Dunne next week on NXT Great American Bash. And then we have the main event set for Great American Bash next week. It'll be the NXT Championship. Ethan Page, in his first title defense since winning the championship, will be defending the title against member of the Metaphor, Oro Mensah. Oro Mensah wanting to get revenge on Ethan Page because Ethan Page was the one that was decimating members of the Metaphor, himself, Oro, and his leader, Noam Dar, who has not been seen in an NXT ring in quite some time. But that is what is set for next week. Oro Mensah gets his shot at the NXT title, and he has to go up against all ego Ethan Page. All right, guys, so we're going to take a quick little break here. We're going to hear from a couple of our awesome IE Sports Radio shows, our fellow members of the IE Sports Radio Network. And when we come back, we're going to preview SummerSlam 2024, which is this weekend. I'm going to go more in depth with every match on the card, who my picks are, what I think is going to happen, yada, yada, all that good stuff. And then toward the end of the show, I'm going to give you my top 10, perfect 10, my top 10 best SummerSlam matches of all time. In my opinion, of course, I have to say it's the SoCal Saints top 10 best SummerSlam matches. This could be divisive amongst wrestling fans and people watching live right now. So don't all come at me at once. But we'll be right back in just a moment, guys.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, sports fans? You're listening to IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your favorite West Coast Wisconsinite, Bernie Bango, and if you're a cheesehead, come listen to my show, Big Cheese Sports, where we road trip around America's Dairyland, previewing, reviewing, predicting, debating, and digging into all that is Wisconsin sports at the college and pro levels. Join me on IE Sports Radio, Sundays at 1 p.m. Central Standard. Bernie out.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the IE Wrestling Show, your premier professional wrestling podcast on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Shout out to Let's Wine About Sports with Mike Pat and, of course, Big Cheese Sports with Bernie Bango. Thank you guys for that. Showing some love here on the IE Wrestling Show for you guys and your shows. Check them out, guys. You'll definitely enjoy them. So, SummerSlam. It's the biggest party of the summer. We are at the halfway point with SummerSlam. I feel like on the wrestling calendar, at least in WWE, the wrestling calendar, this is like the middle of it, guys. This is like mid-season. Like we're right dead center. It's mid-season in the WWE world. And it's coming to you live. It's going to be that tag. There's actually a nice little tag on it. SummerSlam Cleveland, because this takes place live from the Cleveland Browns Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio, this coming Saturday, August 3rd. It'll be live streaming, of course, on Peacock. If you subscribe to Peacock, if you buy it on pay-per-view, I still believe you can still order pay-per-views. It feels so foreign to me to say that, because for so long I've been either subscribed to the WWE Network or Peacock. So it's been a long time since I've actually ordered a pay-per-view, at least a WWE pay-per-view, because I've ordered, since the inception of the network, I've ordered Ring of Honor pay-per-views. I've ordered, New Japan. I've ordered AEW, yada, yada. But yes, this is the big show. It'll be coming to you live from sold out Cleveland Browns Stadium. They're hoping to hit another record, of course, another sellout record. I'm sure they will. It's WWE. They're in the hottest period they've ever been in quite some time. And they have a lot of big matches announced for this event. And this could be one of the final SummerSlams that we see that is a one-night event, because in the near future, SummerSlam is going to become a two-night event when I believe I don't think it's next year. I think it's the following year. SummerSlam heads to Minneapolis, Minnesota, the home of the Vikings, and it will be a two-night event. I believe that's in 2026, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to double-check that. But, yeah, so eventually SummerSlam will turn into a two-night event just like WrestleMania. And I feel like the Royal Rumble will probably follow suit at some point and become a two-night event in January. I don't know. I mean, like the possibilities are endless, apparently. But these are the matches that will be taking place at SummerSlam this coming Saturday. I'm very excited. SummerSlam is definitely one of the big events of the year. I enjoy this pay-per-view very much. They've had some of the greatest matches ever take place on this event itself, and we'll get into that here in a little while. But let's talk about the upcoming matches. I know I touched on it a bit last week, but I really want to get in depth with it today. So, the Intercontinental Championship, yes, the workhorse title, one of the most prestigious championships on the WWE, in the WWE today, in professional wrestling, in all of professional wrestling. I mean, if you don't believe that or don't agree with me on that, I don't know what to tell you, because it is definitely one of the most prestigious championship titles anyone has ever held in professional wrestling. Many, many former world champions, that was their stepping stone to the world title. Eddie Guerrero, Bret the Hitman Hart, Chris Jericho, Rob Van Dam, Shawn Michaels. I could go on. Stone Cold Steve Austin. You know what I mean? The Rock, Triple H. The list is endless of former Intercontinental champions who went on to win the big gold, the big WWE World Championship. And this match will be no different. It'll be with two of the best wrestlers on the roster today. That may be controversial to say, especially with one of them being so young in the business, but damn is he good, because it's in his genes. Braun Breaker, the nephew of Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner and the son of the dog-faced gremlin Rick Steiner, the Steiner brothers. It's in his genes. Braun Breaker will challenge Sami Zayn, the underdog from the underground, the current reigning defending Intercontinental Champion, in a one-on-one match and a rematch from Money in the Bank for the Intercontinental Championship. Last month when we talked about Money in the Bank, I famously said that I believe that this was going to be a match where Braun Breaker was just going to decimate Sami. It was going to be like a squash, basically. Not so much in terms of like 30 seconds and it's over, but it was going to be a one-sided contest where Braun was just going to decimate Sami, beat him down till he couldn't stand up any longer, and just pin him 1, 2, 3, and we were going to have a new Intercontinental Champion. I think every podcast that I listened to leading up to Money in the Bank all had Braun Breaker winning the Intercontinental title over Sami Zayn at Money in the Bank. I mean, Wrestling Soup, shout out to Wrestling Soup. They said it. Shout out to Don Tony and Kev Castle. They said it. Solo Monster, I think he even said that. I mean, a lot of the big, even, what's his face, that cancer on wrestling, Dave Meltzer, Tuna Meltzer, even said that he had thought that Braun was going to be the one to defeat Sami and win the Intercontinental title. But to all of our surprise, and mine, it was actually a very welcome surprise, Sami Zayn defeated Braun Breaker at Money in the Bank clean. 1, 2, 3, no outside interference, no funny business. Beat him clean, 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring to retain the Intercontinental Championship. It definitely added to the mystique, the character of Sami Zayn being this underdog that people like, yeah, even though he's the champion, everybody counts against, goes against him. Hell, I had to be I said it right now. I had my chips in the basket of Braun Breaker, not in Sami, even though Sami was the champion, the veteran. Because the way Braun has been pushed lately, he's just been destroying guys left and right, one after the other. He's just been going on a tear on Monday Night Raw. He's just been, giving no ifs, ands, buts about it. You know what I mean? He's just been decimating people. He's been having fantastic matches. He's been having pay-per-view quality matches on Raw, especially with Ilya Dragunov, who I feel like should have been. Honestly, I felt like this match should have been a triple threat. They should have thrown Ilya into this match and had it a triple threat match for the Intercontinental title. But hey, Like most people do armchair quarterbacking, I'm not here to be an armchair booker. So, but anyway, that's why but everything leading up to this match, Sammy and Breaker has been fantastic. Sammy showing that he's not afraid. He will stand up to Braun Breaker and he will go at it. He will defend the championship like he does every single time he steps into that ring. Will Sammy be successful this time in Cleveland? I don't know. I feel like I'm doing myself a disservice by putting my chips in Braun Breaker's basket yet again for the second pay-per-view in a row, but I feel like this time on the big stage of SummerSlam in front of, 40, 50, 60,000 people, I think this will be Braun Breaker's time. I feel like Braun Breaker will defeat Sami Zayn this coming Saturday for the Intercontinental title. Because I feel Sammy's going to need to be freed up from having a title for what I feel is the eventual Bloodline Civil War massacre coming to Survivor Series War Games. I've already talked about this a couple weeks ago. I feel like we're going to get a Bloodline versus Bloodline match. It's going to be Bloodline 2.0 versus the OG Bloodline. And I feel Sami Zayn is going to be a part of that because he is a member of that OG Bloodline. That's just me being a dream booker. That's me doing what I just said I didn't want to do, being an armchair booker. But that's what I feel we're going to end up leading to. But more on that in a little bit. But I got to say, with everything that's been going on Monday Night Raw, the constant sneak attacks by Breaker on Sammy, Sammy's been he's gotten the upper hand on Breaker once or twice, but Breaker's definitely been the one to just decimate Sammy more often than not. I think that Braun's going to take that loss from Money in the Bank and turn it into a victory at SummerSlam this coming Saturday. United States Championship match also scheduled for SummerSlam. Cleveland's own WWE United States Champion, the longest reigning champion on the WWE roster today at 250 plus days as champion, Logan Paul defends the United States Championship against L.A. Knight. Yeah! L.A. Knight, the megastar. L.A. Knight gets an opportunity to wrestle for a championship title on one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year. And I feel like this is his time. I think that Logan Paul is going to be losing in his hometown. He just has to. I do not see Logan Paul leaving Cleveland with the United States Championship unless there's some kerfuffle or whatever. There's some outside interference. That's the only way I see that happening. It's some schmoz, you know what I mean? Whatever. One of his prime lackeys like I Show Speed or KSI or even his brother Jake shows up and does something to LA Knight and costs him the match. I don't know. Maybe it's his podcast partner on Impulsive, that dude. I don't know his name, but whatever. Maybe that guy shows up and clocks LA Knight with the title or something. Somebody gives Logan the brass knuckles, but that's the only way I see Logan Paul leaving Cleveland with the United States title, because I feel like LA Knight the fans have been waiting for this. Let's put it that way. The fans have been waiting and they have been patient. They want to see LA Knight win a championship. He's one of the most popular stars on the roster still. He gets a fantastic reaction every time he comes out in the middle of that ring. He is one of the highest selling merch sellers in the WWE still. People are still buying his shirts. People are loving LA Knight. Every time he gets on the microphone, it's gold, man. That guy can talk, man. He's one of the best talkers in the WWE today. He just has it all. He has the it factor. And everybody that are critics of his will always harp on his age. Don't let that fool you. He's not even that old. He's only, early 40s? To me, that's not old. I'm 37. I'm not old. You know what I mean? And LA Knight being, 41, 42 years of age, to me, that's not old. He's in the prime of his career right now. And a United States Championship victory is definitely something that will take him to that next level, upper mid-card level where he needs to be. So that's my pick. I'm got to go with LA Knight. They've had some great interactions. Logan Paul and LA Knight have been gold on SmackDown. They've been having some of the best segments on SmackDown in recent memory. My favorite segment, of course, was when LA Knight crashed Logan Paul's home. Logan Paul had come back from, I forgot where he was. He was out of the country or something, like whatever the storyline was. He showed up at home, and his buddy was like, "Yeah, your friend from LA is here." He's like, "My friend from LA," and he goes out to his pool, and there's LA Knight just chilling in an inner tube, just chilling, like, "Hey, what's up? Yeah, I love your house. Yeah." Like that was probably one of the best segments they've done on SmackDown in quite some time. LA Knight and Logan Paul are gold together. They're very entertaining, and I thought this is what we would have got at WrestleMania, but of course that was not meant to be. We ended up getting the LA Knight and AJ Styles feud, which was also good. A great match at WrestleMania. LA Knight got his first victory at WrestleMania ever, and Logan Paul had a successful title defense against Randy Orton and KO in a triple threat. So it was a win-win for both of them in that point. But now here we are. It's the middle of the year. It's SummerSlam, and it's for the United States title. And I'm going with the megastar LA Knight. Yeah. Next match on the card. This match is set in stone. Was set in stone after winning the Queen of the Ring tournament. Queen Nia Jax will challenge Bayley for the WWE Women's Championship. This is going to be hopefully a very good match. Bayley, her title reign, I got to say, has not been what I thought it would be. It has not lived up to expectations. That's the nicest way I can put it. I feel like Bayley's title reign, Bayley probably should have been pushed a lot stronger, in my opinion, in terms of her being the WWE Women's Champion. She's had a lot of solid matches. That's not what I'm saying. She's been fantastic in the ring because it's Bayley. She's a great talent. It's hard for Bayley to have a bad match with anyone. Bayley brings out the best in people, that whoever she steps in the ring with. She had one of the best matches of WrestleMania weekend with Io Sky. Even Tuna Meltzer had to eat crow and give props to Io and Bayley for their title match at WrestleMania. So for Bayley to even get that, that whatever you want to call him, I don't have nothing nice to say about that man. But whatever you want to call them, for him to give them props, which he would probably, like, I don't know, drink a cup full of ants or something than give WWE props for anything. I mean, like, because he literally can never give WWE props for anything. But for him to give props to the women, especially the women, for a fantastic match that they had, it was like they were undeniable in that aspect, because you could not deny that Io and Bayley had one of the best matches of WrestleMania weekend. And Bayley has been solid since then. She's been a solid champion. It's just this reign, I feel like, hasn't been what I thought it would be. I thought Bayley would be pushed a lot more stronger, I assumed. But, I mean, that's neither here nor there. Nia has been dominant since coming back to the company. She had a fantastic match with Lyra Valkyrie at King and Queen of the Ring, winning the Queen's crown and getting this guaranteed title shot at SummerSlam. And I feel like this will be the coronation and the crowning of a new women's champion, unfortunately. As much as I love Bayley, I think Nia Jax is going to walk out of Cleveland with the WWE Women's Championship. And I think what we're going to get eventually is Miss Money in the Bank, Tiffany Stratton, who is, quote-unquote, BFFs with Nia Jax. And they are, like, legit friends in real life. And they're starting to bring that friendship onto television. And I feel like what's going to eventually happen is that Tiffany is going to end up turning babyface and cashing in on Nia for that championship. Because you can't hate Tiffany. I mean, like, it's hard to hate Tiffany. She's a fantastic young talent. She's very talented for as young as she's been in the business. This goes without saying, she's absolutely gorgeous. But the talent is what shines more so than her beauty. She's very talented. She's had some really, really great matches on NXT, on the big NXT Premium Live events. She had that really great Anything Goes match with Becky Lynch a while back that really surprised me. I was pleasantly shocked at how great that match was between her and Becky Lynch for the NXT Women's Championship. And Tiffany winning the Ms. Money in the Bank was the right decision last month. And I feel like this is going to eventually turn her babyface because the fans, yes, she's currently a heel, but you can tell the fans want to cheer for her. The whole it's Tiffy time, like that's getting over. She's getting over organically, and eventually that's what's going to lead to that. So I feel like Nia winning is the right decision for this contest. Ooh, I know this is a match that my boy Ralph is definitely really interested in, as well as me. I'm really interested in this next women's championship match. I'm talking about the Women's World Championship. Liv Morgan defends the Women's World title against Mommy Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley coming back from injury. She relinquished the title, having never been pinned or submitted to lose the championship. So basically, she looks at Liv as being a placeholder. Liv is just holding on, keeping the title warm for her, and now it's time for Mommy to get that championship title back. This past Monday Night on Raw, Liv cut an awesome promo, a pre-taped promo, where she basically burned her Dirty Dom t-shirt and said that there's only one thing that I want out of this. I want to hear those three little words, Women's World Champion. And she said she's going to finish the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour at SummerSlam when she defeats Rhea Ripley and retains her title. I think that's what's going to happen, unfortunately. I think Rhea, she is very much loved. Rhea is definitely internally on the booking sheets, and if her reaction is any indication, she's a babyface now. The fans love Rhea, the fans love Mommy, but unfortunately, I don't think Mommy's leaving Cleveland with that Women's World Championship. I think Liv Morgan is going to win the Women's World Championship, and it's going to be one of two reactions, or one of two things are going to happen. I'd be shocked at this, but I feel like this is probably the lesser of the two choices. Liv beats Rhea clean. That's not happening. I don't think that's happening. What I feel like is really going to happen is that it's either going to be Finn Balor or Dirty Dom is going to turn on Rhea, and it's going to cost Rhea the title, and Liv is going to walk out of Cleveland with the championship. If it's Dirty Dom doing the turning, I feel like he's going to actually turn on Rhea and side with Liv. Like it's all been a facade. Like he's been enjoying this whole thing with Liv. Liv has been, she's just been just melting all of us. You know what I mean? Like Liv is just like chef's kiss. And not to say Rhea isn't, but I feel like Dom is going to be like, yeah, I'm being treated better by Liv. She calls me daddy. I don't have to call her mommy. And this, I feel like that's what's going to end up being the case. And he's going to end up turning on Rhea, breaking her heart, and costing her the Women's World Championship. And he's going to leave Cleveland with his new little boo, Liv Morgan, by his side. That's just what I think will happen. But the end result is still the same. I think Liv is leaving Cleveland still the Women's World Champion. Next match on the card is another end result from the King of the Ring tournament. And this, I've said this last week, and I'll say it again. I was not super stoked for this match. Like, it was definitely the match that I was least interested in on the SummerSlam card. But these last couple weeks, my interest has peaked. And I'm definitely excited to see what happens with this match. It'll be for the World Heavyweight Championship. Damian Priest, El Campeón, defends the World Heavyweight Championship against the King of the Ring, the King General, Gunther. Gunther was successful in defeating Damian Priest's Judgment Day brethren, Finn Balor, in the middle of the ring this past Monday Night on Raw. But that led to Damian Priest coming out and just attacking, stomping on Gunther, trying to get the upper hand on the lead-in to SummerSlam this coming Saturday. And last week was the same. Gunther came out, cut a promo, Damian came out, and then he just, boom, clocked him with a forearm right to the chin, and they were going at it, trading blows. The crowd reacted fantastically to Damian Priest doing this. Definitely, Damian is definitely the babyface going into this match over Gunther. And this is a tough one. Because now I was like, it's a guarantee that Gunther's leaving with the world championship. But now I feel like it could go either way. Will Damian Priest retain the world championship? It's a possibility, a very strong possibility, but I feel like it's the least likely possibility in this scenario. What I feel is what's going to happen is that Gunther is going to win the world championship, but I feel like it's not going to be without shenanigans. I feel like Damian is going to be the victim of a betrayal, and that betrayal will come at the hands of Finn Balor. Finn Balor, I don't know why I'm mentioning Finn Balor again, but I feel like Finn Balor is just up to something. Like his reactions, the way he looks at it's the subtleness, the subtleties, the booking of Triple H. It's all these little subtleties, like the way he looks at Gunther, his tone when he answers him, just everything that's been going on the last few months since Damian became champion. Him constantly having to tell the members of the Judgment Day, like, I got to do this alone, stay back here. And then they disobey him, coming out anyway. And then Damian gets frustrated, pissed off, looks at him like, I told you to stay in the back. He grabbed Finn by the face, I think at the end of oh God, what was it? I think it was Backlash in his match with Jey Uso. He grabbed him by the face and was just like, what are you doing? And pushed him. It's these little things leading up to this is what's going to cost Damian Priest the World Heavyweight Championship. I think Finn Balor is finally going to say, I'm fed up. I'm over it. Who made you the leader of the Judgment Day? And this is it. You're done. No more World Championship for you. And Gunther is going to walk out of Cleveland with the World Heavyweight Championship because of a betrayal of Damian Priest from his Judgment Day brethren. And I feel like Gunther will be walking into Bash at Berlin, which is coming up at the end of August, with that World Heavyweight Championship. Woo! Next match on the card, the hottest feud in professional wrestling today. I've said it for weeks and weeks. I'll say it again. The hottest feud in professional wrestling right now between two men who haven't touched each other since the Royal Rumble back in January of this year. It's been made official. They haven't laid a finger on each other because if they did, the match would have been canceled. And now we got a special guest referee who is intermingled in this feud because he doesn't like either one of these men. And one of these men cost him the World Heavyweight Championship, a chance to regain it. The other took the World Heavyweight Championship from him at WrestleMania. Will he be unbiased? We bear to witness it. We will see. Because the only non-title match on the card will be CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre with Seth freaking Rollins as the special guest referee. Yes, Seth freaking Rollins is the man who will count the 1, 2, 3 for this match. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre have been going at it for months since Drew McIntyre. This is legitimately happened. Drew McIntyre injured CM Punk in the Royal Rumble match. He tore his tricep. That wasn't storyline. That was legit. Because CM Punk was scheduled to be one of the main events for WrestleMania. That injury changed the course of the entire WrestleMania season. Night one's original main event was supposed to be CM Punk and Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. CM Punk gets injured. Match is canceled. We get what we get, which I think was, in a lot of ways, was a lot better in that. I mean, in that aspect. I mean, I still feel like the build for WrestleMania would have still been just as epic. But man, was this year's WrestleMania epic because we got night one's main event, which was the tag team match between The Rock and Roman Reigns against Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. And then Drew McIntyre defeated Seth Rollins on the very first match of night 2 of WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight Championship, which led to CM Punk, who was at ringside, attacking Drew McIntyre, inadvertently costing him the World Heavyweight Championship when Damian Priest cashed in and defeated Drew McIntyre for the world title, costing McIntyre the championship, giving him only a 5-minute reign at WrestleMania. And then that was it. That was the start of this whole thing between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. Drew McIntyre continuously saying, I've been screwed. Punk is screwing me. over and over again, I've been screwed. And Punk, I am going to stand here and I'm going to keep you from being successful. As long as I am here, as long as I have a breath in my body, you will not be world champion. And Punk has lived up to that promise. Punk cost him the World Heavyweight Championship at Clash of the Castle. He cost Drew the championship at Money in the Bank when Drew cashed in the title during Seth and Damian Priest's match. Excuse me. And then Drew got a little bit of revenge by assaulting CM Punk on SmackDown the following Friday from Money in the Bank and stealing a bracelet that was made for CM Punk by his wife, WWE former WWE Divas champion AJ Lee, that had AJ's name on it and his dog's name on it, Larry, the famous Larry. It means a lot to Punk. That's his family, his wife and his beloved pet dog, Larry. One thing that, nice little tidbit here, one thing that me and Punk share in common, we both have a wife named April. April is my wife's name, and AJ Lee's real name is April. And that's what it says on the bracelet. It says April and Larry. And Punk has taken that as the ultimate disrespect. And Punk is coming for blood at SummerSlam. And Seth has said it this past Monday Night on Raw that I'm only here to count the pinfall or the submission. He said, who knows? Will I count to 10? Maybe I'll count to 20. Maybe I'll count to 1,000,000. Will there be disqualifications? It'll be at my discretion. He's basically saying, I'm going to let these guys beat the crap out of each other. And then what I decide to count, or when I decide to accept a submission, that's when I'll do it. He wants to let them fight and just be out of the way. But I feel like that's not the case. I feel like Seth will eventually get involved somehow. It's going to be this big blow-off. It's going to be a big match. This is definitely one of the biggest matches on the card, and I definitely cannot wait to see what will happen. This will be the first match for CM Punk, a one-on-one match for CM Punk on a pay-per-view since returning to the company. The last time CM Punk competed at a WrestleMania, the last time CM Punk competed at a SummerSlam was SummerSlam 2013. It was the Best versus the Beast. CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar in a fantastic match. More on that later. So Punk coming back in one of the biggest marquee matches at SummerSlam after 10 and a half years out of the spotlight of WWE. I really don't know. I can't pick one because it could go either way between these two. This has been such a hot feud. I know this is not going to be the one and done type of thing. They're going to continue this feud. But I don't know who I believe is going to win this first contest. If there is a winner. What if nobody wins and Seth just counts a no contest? I really can't make a pick on this one, guys. And the main event, guys, for SummerSlam, as we know so far, will be the undisputed WWE Championship. The undisputed WWE Champion, of course, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, defends the undisputed WWE Championship against the new Tribal Chief. According to him, the new leader of the Bloodline 2.0, Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa pinned Cody Rhodes in the six-man tag team match at Money in the Bank last month at Money in the Bank. Cody has not been pinned by many people since coming back to the company. You can count all the people who have defeated Cody Rhodes on one hand. The Rock, Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, and now Solo Sikoa. That's 5 people, guys. Cody Rhodes has not had many losses since coming back to the company in 2022. And this is his first loss since winning the championship. yes, granted, it was in a tag team match. Title wasn't on the line, but it means something. It means that Solo Sikoa could be the one man to defeat him and take that title away from him that he's just been fighting for so long. But will it happen? I don't think so. I think another stipulation could be added to this match. I feel like this coming Friday, I think we might get a new stipulation. There's rumors going around that tribal warfare stipulation could be added to this match this coming Friday on SmackDown. And if it is, I think it definitely opens the door for the return of the one true head of the table, the one true tribal chief. I'm talking about Roman Reigns. I've been saying this for months. I've been saying this for weeks leading up to SummerSlam, and I'll say it again. I think it's coming. This coming weekend, we're going to see the triumphant return of Roman Reigns. Fans have been chanting his name since he left after WrestleMania, especially at Solo and the new Bloodline. We want Roman. We want Roman. We want Roman. And it was even more evident whenever they took out the wise man and he would not acknowledge Solo as his tribal chief. Famously, Paul Heyman with his disheveled look, red bloodshot eyes, because to keep it going, to make it look legit, Paul Heyman stayed awake for 24 hours. He did not sleep the night prior to SmackDown to make himself look even more. He didn't shave. He wanted himself to look like he had been stressing and staying awake and just agonizing over this. And he finally came to his conclusion where he looked Solo right in the eyes and said, "I acknowledge that you were not my tribal chief." And the crowd erupted. But then it led to Paul Heyman getting hit with a Samoan spike and then being triple powerbombed through the SmackDown announcer's table. Roman Reigns is not going to sit idly by and allow the wise man to be decimated by this fake bloodline, by this Temu bloodline, by this Wish.com bloodline, by this TikTok shop bloodline. And this is going to be the catalyst, the kickoff to what will eventually be the main event of War Games. Like I mentioned earlier, it will be, I'm guaranteeing it, right? I'm putting it in the ether. I'm releasing it out into the universe. I'm saying it right here, right now. The main event for Survivor Series is going to be Bloodline versus Bloodline at War Games Survivor Series in Los Angeles. It's going to be Jacob Fatu, Tongaloa, Tama Tonga, and Solo Sikoa against Jimmy and Jey Uso, Gate, Sami Zayn, and Roman Reigns, the OG Bloodline. I'm calling it right now. That's what I think is going to happen. And it's going to start at SummerSlam when Roman Reigns returns. Either he costs Solo the title during his return, or Cody beats Solo clean. And then Roman shows up after the match. Either way, we're going to get the return of the tribal chief at SummerSlam. Or at least that's what we all think. That's what we all think. Whew. Well, all right, guys. Well, let's take a quick little break and hear from some other of our awesome IE Sports Radio affiliates. And we'll be right back on the IE Wrestling Show, where we're going to count down my top 10 favorite, or in my opinion, my top 10 best SummerSlam matches of all time. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back in just a moment.
What's up, Pittsburgh? This is Ralph DeLeese, the host of the Injury Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Are you that passionate, die-hard Steeler, Penguins, Pirates, or just a Pittsburgh sports fan, then please join me on the Yins Report every Tuesday on IE Sports Radio, the direct feed for all that is sports, and I will update you on all that's black and gold and have you telling your Pittsburgh fans and friends what's up with Pittsburgh sports. Tune in Tuesday with me, Ralph Calise, the Yins Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Let's go!
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Los Great, here to give you what you want, here to give you what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy, awesome white tea. We are coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back to the IE Wrestling Show, guys. If you're just now tuning in, I was going over the card for SummerSlam 2024, and we just heard from two of our awesome affiliates of IE Sports Radio. Gloves Off with Marcus Losgreat, and of course the Yinzer Report with my boy Ralph Calise. Yeet! We're going to end the show, guys, here in just a few moments, but I wanted to do this every time there's the big WWE shows. Like the big four is what we call it here in the in the know with the wrestling crowd. The big four, of course, are the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. And with it being SummerSlam, I thought it would be befitting for us to go down a list like I did with some of the best matches of 2024 so far that I've done. Some of the best matches of every year. I know when we did our 10-year anniversary for IE Sports Radio, I did for every year that IE Sports Radio was around, I did the best matches, the best match for every year from 2014 to 2024. And now today, I'm going to break down, for me, my opinion. This might be a little divisive amongst the fans and probably amongst the people listening in the chat room and watching live, but this is going to be my picks, my top 10 best SummerSlam matches of all time. That's what we're going to go over right now. The SoCal Saints top 10 best SummerSlam matches of all time. And we're going to kick things off with one of my favorite Intercontinental Championship matches ever to take place at SummerSlam. Bret the Hitman Hart versus Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig for the Intercontinental Championship at SummerSlam 1991. I believe this took place. Oh, man, I'm trying to remember. I think this was in Madison Square Garden, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. If anyone out there knows where this took place, please hit me up in the chat room and give me the correct answer. But this was a fantastic match. The first time I saw this match was actually on a little thing called VHS, for all you youngins out there, for all you young kids out there. VHS was a way we used to watch things. We didn't have DVDs, and if you're too young to even know what a DVD is, this is before streaming, guys. This is before you could literally just look at something on your phone and just click the button. You know what I mean? You actually had to purchase these tapes or rent them from what we used to call a video store, like Blockbuster or Hollywood Video for all my California fans out there. And you would have to rewind the tape because sometimes people would be idiots and never rewind the tape. Shout out to, I think Larry B will recognize this from my homeboy, Larry B, former member of the not a former member, but he's a loyal member of the Parasites, which I like to call us members of Paris, California, us people who grew up in Paris, California. I used to go to Video Time. Do you remember that, Larry? I hope you're listening. Do you remember Video Time? It's right across the street from Stater Brothers and Carl's Jr., and it was right next to Food for Less, right there in Paris, which was right by our high school. And Video Time was this video store, and they had a huge library of professional wrestling tapes. I used to bug my mom and my dad almost every weekend when I got into wrestling, and that's how I started like educating myself on professional wrestling. And I started like watching old tapes. I'd rent old WrestleManias, old SummerSlams, you name it. I used to rent there all the time, man. Thank you, Ralph, in the chat room for correcting me. He confirmed that SummerSlam 91 was in Madison Square Garden, the mecca of all sports. Thank you, Ralph. I appreciate that, brother. But yeah, Larry remembers. So they had a huge library, man. I used to love going to Video Time and renting wrestling tapes. Anyway, this is how I watched this match for the first time. I rented SummerSlam 91 and watched this match. And man, this match was fantastic. Mr. Perfect was definitely lived up to that name. Mr. Perfect was damn near perfect every single time he stepped foot in that ring. I feel like for that era, definitely exemplified what the Intercontinental Championship meant in professional wrestling, being the workhorse title, because he was definitely one of the best wrestlers to ever lace up a pair of boots, and he was definitely one of the best professional wrestlers to never be a world champion in the WWE. And him and Bret always had great matches with each other, and this was no different. Bret's parents were actually live in the crowd. His father, Stu, and his mother, Martha, were Helen and Stu, his parents, were live in the crowd watching this match. And Bret, it had one of the most famous finishes to me, one of the best finishes ever. Bret was on his back, and Mr. Perfect had his feet up and was going to like leg drop his midsection. And when he did that, Bret was basically playing possum, and he seemingly grabbed Mr. Perfect's legs, turned him around, and then sat up into the sharpshooter, and Kurt Hennig had to tap out right away. It was such a great finish. It was like you never saw that coming. It was so like subtle, like it was just the little nuances between Bret and Mr. Perfect, the little things that they did that made sense. And this was one of the best Intercontinental Championship matches of all time, and definitely my pick for number 10 on the best matches in SummerSlam history. Next match on the card, another appearance by the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, Bret the Hitman Hart in his final SummerSlam. Well, not really. not his final SummerSlam appearance, because he actually technically wrestled at SummerSlam 2010, right? 10? Yeah, 2010, when it was Team WWE versus the Nexus. The less we talk about that, the better. But this match was definitely one of the highlights of his final run with the WWE during his actual in-ring career, when he was the leader of the Hart Foundation. It was Heart and Soul was the tagline for this pay-per-view. It was SummerSlam 1997. The Undertaker at the time was the WWE champion, and he defended the WWE championship against Bret the Hitman Hart, and the special guest referee was none other than the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. And this was definitely that's what I'm saying, that the match between Drew and Punk definitely kind of reminisces with this main event match at SummerSlam, because of definitely with the implementation of the special guest referee of Seth freaking Rollins, and the bad blood between all three men in this match. And it was the same with this, because of course there was bad blood between HBK and Bret Hart, and then this match led to more bad blood between the Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, because Shawn Michaels inadvertently cost the Undertaker the WWE Championship when he was spit in the face by Bret Hart. A big loogie hit Michaels right in the face. Shawn was holding a steel chair, and he just wham went to hit Bret, but inadvertently struck the Undertaker on the top of his head. Bret covered him, looked at Shawn, and was like, "Come on!" And HBK had to just suck it up, swallow his pride, and go 1, 2, 3. And Bret the Hitman Hart won his 5th and final WWE Championship by defeating The Undertaker at the behest of Shawn Michaels, or at least the inadvertent behest of Shawn Michaels. But that action inadvertently led to the very first Hell in the Cell match between The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels at Bad Blood in October that year. The very first ever Hell in a Cell match came as a result of this match at SummerSlam 97. So I feel like the bigger picture that came out of this match is what makes this match one of my favorite matches ever in SummerSlam history. SummerSlam 97, Undertaker, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels as the special guest referee for the WWE Championship. Shout out to Ralph. Oh, okay, cool. Yes, a couple weeks back, I talked about the Bret Hart documentary, Hitman Hart Wrestling with Shadows, and I told everybody, if you haven't seen it, you definitely need to, because it's definitely one of the best documentaries about professional wrestling, or specifically a professional wrestler of all time. And Ralph just said in the chat room that he actually, there you go, right there, that he actually watched it. It's great. If you haven't seen it, take Ralph and my words for it. It is fantastic. If you haven't seen it, you need to check it out, guys. It's a fantastic documentary. And yes, Bret and Shawn definitely hated one another during this time period for sure. Next match on the card for my pick at number 8, John Cena defending the WWE Championship against Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam 2013. And what I forgot to mention in this was also a special guest referee bout with Triple H being the special guest referee for this match. John Cena, weeks prior to this event, said, "I need to choose an opponent for SummerSlam, and I choose Daniel Bryan." He was handpicked by John Cena to face him at SummerSlam. Daniel Bryan was. And I did not believe Daniel Bryan had a chance in hell of winning the WWE Championship, even though he was having the best run of his career at that moment. He was very popular with the crowd. Everyone was chanting, "Yes, yes, yes." It was just this was the early rumblings. This is how the Yes movement was beginning to gain traction and was just barely starting. And lo and behold, out of nowhere, Daniel Bryan defeated John Cena clean, no outside interference, hit him with the running knee. 1, 2, 3. He pinned John Cena to become the WWE champion for the first time in his career. But it didn't last long, because after celebrating his victory momentarily, Randy Orton, the Viper, who was Mr. Money in the Bank at the time, came sauntering out from backstage with the briefcase. And Daniel Bryan was like, "Come on, let's go. I'm ready. Let's go." And then ultimate betrayal. Triple H turns him around. Boom, kick. Pedigree right in the center of the ring to Daniel Bryan. He motions to Randy Orton to come into the ring. Randy Orton covers him. 1, 2, 3. Randy Orton is the new WWE champion, and that's how we closed out SummerSlam 2013. And this was the beginning of the WrestleMania season, because this led to the Yes movement. This led to Daniel Bryan defeating Triple H to gain entry into the WWE Championship match at WrestleMania 30, and then defeating Batista and Randy Orton in the main event of WrestleMania 30 to win the WWE Undisputed World Heavyweight Championship. And it all stemmed from this match right here. Next match on the card, I think a lot of people will be angry at me for not putting this in the top 5, but man, like, my top 5, it was really hard for me to condense it into this top 5, because these next 2 matches definitely have a place in the top 5, but I just couldn't, in my mind, I couldn't pick them over the ones I chose for the top 5. So this had to go where it is, and if you have a problem with it, I apologize. But at number 7, SummerSlam 2002, Triple H versus Shawn Michaels, the unsanctioned match. Shawn Michaels' first televised WWE match since WrestleMania 14 in 1998. Shawn Michaels had seemingly retired from in-ring competition because of a back injury after WrestleMania 14. It was a back injury that he suffered at the Royal Rumble 98 that he worked through up until March of 98 when he lost the WWE title to Stone Cold Steve Austin, starting the Stone Cold era, the Attitude Era officially kicking off at WrestleMania 14. Shawn Michaels came back in the summer of 2002 as a member of the New World Order, the NWO for life, with Kevin Nash, Big Show, and X-Pac, and they were trying to court Triple H to become a member of the NWO. Leading up to the King of the Ring of that year, where Triple H was challenging The Undertaker for the WWE Championship at the time. Injuries happened, and that idea was kiboshed. X-Pac was let go from the company. The NWO was disbanded because Kevin Nash had suffered a torn quad, and he was going to be out for about 9 months to a year. And Shawn Michaels was no longer in the NWO. And it turned into the NWO trying to court Triple H, to Triple H being a free agent at Vengeance. And he had to choose between Raw and SmackDown. And Shawn Michaels came out that night when Eric Bischoff and Stephanie McMahon, the respective GMs at the time, who were trying to court Triple H to either show. Shawn Michaels, who was technically on Raw, got Triple H to come with him. He's like, "Come be with me, buddy. Let's do this together." And Triple H chose to go with Raw with Shawn. The very next night on Raw, Shawn showed some sort of disrespect to Triple H because he didn't want to be, I guess, a manager of Triple H, which led to Triple H turning on Shawn Michaels when it looked like they were reforming D-Generation X. And this led to hostilities between the two of them. Shawn was taken out by an unknown assailant, and Triple H, even though he had turned on Shawn Michaels a couple weeks prior to this, he was going to get to the bottom of it. I'm going to find the guy who did this to Shawn. But Shawn was doing his own little detective work and found out that it was, in fact, Triple H that was the one that took him out. And he said, at SummerSlam, me and you are going to go at it. It's going to be an unsanctioned street fight, and that's what we got here. And this was definitely one of the best matches of Shawn Michaels' later career. There's pre-injury Shawn Michaels, who's had great matches, and then there's post-injury Shawn Michaels, which was in the early to mid-2000s Shawn Michaels run. And I feel like this might be a hot take, but I feel like early to mid-2000s run of Shawn Michaels' career, I think there's more highlights from that run than there, and I think he had a better run in terms of match quality for that run than he did prior to his injury. That's just my opinion, because a lot of great matches came out of that. His 2 WrestleMania matches with The Undertaker, his match with Ric Flair, multiple matches with Triple H, the WrestleMania match that we are not allowed to talk about anymore, WrestleMania 20, with He Who Should Not Be Named, Triple H, and He Who Should Not Be Named versus Triple H versus Shawn Michaels. Anyway, this was a fantastic match. Shawn Michaels was successful defeating Triple H in his return match, and this definitely was the catalyst to get Shawn back in the ring for one final run before he actually called it quits on his own terms. Next, at number 6, also from SummerSlam 2002, was the era of the next big thing. It was The Rock defending the WWE Championship against the rookie Brock Lesnar. In just a mere, 4 or 5 months, Brock debuted the night after WrestleMania in dominant fashion, and he went on a tear after that. He became the King of the Ring of that year, giving him a title match. This was probably the one and only time they did this prior to this year, where the winner of the King of the Ring was guaranteed an undisputed WWE Championship match. Brock Lesnar winning the King of the Ring by defeating then Intercontinental Champion Rob Van Dam and getting his spot at the match. And it was all over the posters. It was all over WWE Magazine at the time. It was Rock versus Brock. The Rock defending the undisputed WWE Championship against Brock Lesnar. And for the first time ever in his rookie year, Brock Lesnar defeated The Rock for the undisputed WWE Championship. And the crowd in Nassau Coliseum in Long Island, New York was definitely in the corner of Brock Lesnar because they knew Rock was leaving to go make another movie at the time. They booed The Rock out of the building. They cheered everything that Lesnar did, and Lesnar looked like $1 million. It was definitely a crowning achievement for Lesnar and also the company, because they definitely just created a brand new main event star in this match. And man, what a match it was. This pay-per-view in general, SummerSlam 2002, is a fucking it's awesome. It is 10 out of 10. If you haven't seen SummerSlam 2002, do yourself a favor and rewatch that pay-per-view, because from beginning to end is solid match after solid match after solid match. It kicks off with Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio. You get Chris Jericho and Ric Flair, who you think couldn't really have a good. You didn't think. I mean, on paper it doesn't sound fantastic, but actually is one of the best matches on the. It's actually one of the best matches of the night. Then you get Chris Benoit versus. I said it. Benoit versus, I believe it was Rob Van Dam for the Intercontinental title. Edge and Eddie Guerrero have a fantastic match on this card. The Undertaker and Test have a great match on this card. Booker T and Goldust challenge the Un-Americans for the tag team titles on this card. Then, of course, you get the Shawn Michaels and Triple H match, and then the title match between Rock and Lesnar. Here we go. My top 5, guys. Top 5. Bret Hart versus the British Bulldog, SummerSlam 1992, the original Wembley Stadium in London, England, for the Intercontinental Championship. Ooh, this might be a little controversial because literally every list I've seen has always put this match at number 1. But for me, I put this at number 5 because I feel like there's 4 other matches that just stand out better for me than this match. I'm not saying that takes away anything from this match, because it's definitely one of the best matches in history, let alone just SummerSlam history. Definitely one of the best Intercontinental title matches of all time, if not the greatest Intercontinental title match of all time. Bret the Hitman Hart was the Intercontinental Champion going into this match, and he was up against the entire country of England and the entire city of London, because they were chanting and going for their countryman, Davey Boy Smith, the British Bulldog, who is the real-life brother-in-law of Bret the Hitman Hart. His wife, Bret Hart's sister, Diana, was in his corner, and it was like a family affair for this night. And Bret doing the honors for Davey in a classic roll-up, 1, 2, 3. Davey Boy Smith wins the Intercontinental Championship in front of his hometown crowd. They shake hands, they hug like the family that they are. What a star-making match this was. Davey Boy Smith winning the Intercontinental Championship over Bret the Hitman Hart at SummerSlam 1992 in the main event of SummerSlam 1992. Let's not forget that. It was the main event, the Intercontinental title showcased as the main event for this pay-per-view. Next match at number 4, SummerSlam 2016, the very first match between AJ Styles and John Cena. This match was epic. It had it all. The crowd was hot. We had chants of AJ Styles, let's go Cena. AJ Styles, let's go Cena. This crowd was split right down the middle. This was the highlight of that event. This was the best match of the event. AJ Styles and John Cena put on a clinic, and you could tell that these guys were going to have classic matches every time they step foot in a ring with one another. This was during AJ Styles' rookie year in the WWE. It's so weird to say that, rookie year, because he was already a tenured wrestler at the time that he debuted in 2016 at the Royal Rumble. He had already been all over the world. He had already been wrestling for Ring of Honor, TNA, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and then this was his rookie year in the WWE. But this match, this awesome match, this bar none, this match that I mean, the pay-per-view could have ended after this match because nobody was following this. Nobody was going to follow this match after this. AJ later on went on to become the WWE champion during his rookie year in the WWE. And I feel like the performance in this match and victory over Cena definitely was the reason for that. I think the company, seeing his performance with Cena, how the crowd reacted to him and this match, definitely put a lot of trust in AJ that he could carry the company's top prize. He became, I think, the very first former TNA World Champion to win the WWE Championship, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm mistaken, correct me, but I believe that's true, that no other TNA World Champion prior to AJ won the WWE Championship. He was a homegrown TNA talent. He's a former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion at the time, and then he won his WWE Championship that year, and it was all due to this performance with John Cena at SummerSlam 2016. Next match on the card, I had to put this on the list. This may not be your favorite ladder match in the history of SummerSlam. This may not be one of your favorite ladder matches, period. But for me, for nostalgia reasons and just because it's my favorite wrestler being involved in this match, I had to put this in the top 5. Number 3, Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio, SummerSlam 2005, the ladder match for the custody of Dominic. That's right, you heard me right. These two men competed in a ladder match for the custody of a child. Only WWE could do that, guys, and get away with it. Dominic Mysterio, yes, Dirty Dom himself that you guys know of today, was fought over by his father, Rey Mysterio, and his uncle Eddie in a custody ladder match. The custody papers were held in a briefcase above the ring. The winner of the match gained custody of Dominic. And just the ridiculousness of it all. This is what turned out the catchphrase that Eddie Guerrero had late in his career before he passed away untimely with the I'm Your Papi. I still have my I'm Your Papi t-shirt. I bought a new one not that long ago. I'm Your Papi, Eddie Guerrero, Latino Heat. That's what it started. It all started from this feud with Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio that started at WrestleMania that year and did not end until after this match. This was the cap-off. This was the end result. This was the end-all, be-all. The custody of Dominic, a ladder match at SummerSlam. What more could you want, guys? Number 2. This may be controversial, but number 2. I talked about this earlier when I was discussing the Drew McIntyre-Punk match. But for me, number 2 on my SummerSlam Best Matches list, SummerSlam 2013, CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar. The best versus the beast. And I loved the way that this match was presented. CM Punk with his mutton chops and Brock Lesnar just being a hulking of a man. And I even saw like somebody edited pictures of these two. It had CM Punk as Wolverine and Brock Lesnar as the Incredible Hulk. Me being a giant comic book nerd and a Marvel fan, I ate it all up. I was like, yes, that's perfect. He's got the mutton chops like Wolverine, CM Punk did at the time. Brock Lesnar was a Hulk of a man. It makes sense. We had CM Punk, the smaller of the man, but had full heart fighting against this incredible hulking man, the Incredible Hulk of Brock Lesnar. And they had a fantastic match. This was the match of the night for certain. It was the best match on the card. I can't even remember any other matches from this pay-per-view because this match is the only one that stands out because of how good it is. CM Punk in a losing effort against Brock Lesnar, but damn if it wasn't a good match. One of the best matches at SummerSlam in history. And for me, it's number 2. For me, this next one could be controversial, could not. I feel like a lot of Attitude Era fans will agree with me. Maybe some will not. But for me, the number 1 pick for best match in SummerSlam history is the very first ever. I need a drum roll. Is there a drum roll anywhere? Oh, well, whatever. If there's not a drum roll, it's okay. I'll do one myself. Here we go. Tables, ladders, chairs. Oh my! The very first TLC match. The Dudley Boys versus the Hardy Boys versus Edge and Christian for the WWE Tag Team titles at SummerSlam 2000. That is my pick for the number 1 match. My number 1 pick for 10 best matches in SummerSlam history. The TLC match that started it all. The very first. SummerSlam 2000. It was at WrestleMania 2000 back in April of that year that these guys had a triangle ladder match for the WWE Tag Team titles where Edge and Christian were successful in winning their first ever tag team titles. But over the months between these 3 teams, trading back title victories and table matches and chair shots and ladder matches and you name it. Mick Foley at the time was the commissioner of the WWE, and he said, we're going to do it again like we did it at WrestleMania, but it's going to be different. We're going to have tables. We're going to have ladders. We're going to have chairs. Oh, my! tables, ladders, and chairs match at SummerSlam. The Dudleys versus the Hardys versus Edge and Christian. Bang, bang! And this match did not disappoint. It had a lot of great spots in this match. Jeff Hardy going off the top of a huge ladder through 2 tables, again with a swanton bomb. There was that awesome spot where you had Devon, and I think it was Jeff, hanging above the ring on the rungs where the titles were being held, and Devon just taking a swan dive into the ring from there. Devon has talked about this spot and this match a lot in podcast interviews over the years and said that he very famously is afraid of heights. And during this spot, Jeff was like kind of kicking him, and Devon was looking at Jeff, was like, "Stop kicking me! Stop kicking me! Like, stop it!" And he was I think Jeff was just trying to help. Devon's like, "Come on, man, just rip the Band-Aid off. You got to do this." And finally, Devon let go and took a really nasty bump, but it was awesome. Edge and Christian ended up winning this match, retaining their WWE Tag Team titles, and this led to the next TLC match that came at probably the best WrestleMania in history, according to whoever you ask, WrestleMania 17, the following the following April in 2001. But this is the one that started it all. TLC 1 is the one that started it all. And that, for me, makes it the number 1 match on my list for 10 best matches in SummerSlam history. Yeah, that's right, Larry B. Best match ever. I know Larry loves that match, so I knew he was going to love that I chose this as the number 1 of my top 10 list. All right, guys, I got nothing else for you. Maybe we'll have some bigger moments this coming weekend at SummerSlam. Maybe we'll have another moment that I can add, another match that I can add to the top 10 list in the near future. For me, guys, I cannot wait to watch SummerSlam this weekend. I'll be live posting on the X. So please follow me at IE Wrestling Show. That's at IE Wrestling Show on X and on TikTok. Sorry, I'm trying to get my Twitter handle here for you guys. Yes. And please, do yourself a favor and don't forget to follow IE Sports Radio on the X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, of course, at IE Sports Radio. Don't forget to check out our official website, iesportsradio.com, where you can join for free. If you love what we do, check out the IE Sports Radio shop and buy yourself an awesome t-shirt like the one that's sitting behind my big fat head right there. And guys, I will see you guys next week. Same SoCal Saint time, same SoCal Saint channel. Everyone, enjoy SummerSlam this weekend, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace!